everyone, and welcome to Storytime. My name is Miss Malia, and I'm the Youth Services Specialist here at Upper King William Library. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, can you guess what our theme is today for Storytime? I have an instrument in my hand, and all our books here have instruments on them and conductors. Is it art? No, it's not art. It is an art, but it's not art. It's a performing art. It's music. We're going to be talking about music today. All right, before we dive into our selection today, we're going to start off with our hello song, okay? And we're just going to do If You're Happy and You Know It, okay? So we will clap our hands, stomp our feet, and then we'll shout hooray. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Everyone. Oh, those beautiful voices. Okay, so I am playing the violin today because that is my primary instrument. It's the instrument I play the most, and I love it. Okay, and all of our books today are going to be centered around music. Okay, mostly orchestral music and those instruments. Okay, so not really talking about guitar and ukulele today, but you know, all our string family, our woodwind and brass and percussion, that's who we're talking about today. All right, so we're going to lead into our first story, and it is called Zinzinzin the Violin, or a Violin. All right, so let's see what this book is about. Zinzinzin, a Violin, written by Lloyd Moss, illustrated by Marjorie Priceman. And this book is published by Simon & Schuster Books for young readers. Thank you, publishers, for allowing us to use your books during story time. With a mournful moan and a silken tone, itself alone comes one trombone. Gliding, sliding, high notes go low. One trombone is playing solo. Next, a trumpet comes along and sings and stings its swinging song. It joins trombone, no more alone. And one and two-o, they're a duo. Fine French horn, its valves all oiled, bright and brassy, loops all coiled. Golden yellow, joins its fellows, two, now three-o, what a trio! Now, a mellow friend, the cello, neck extended, bows a hello, end pin set upon the floor. It makes up a quartet, that's four. And soaring high and moving in with a zin, 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 a violin. Stroking strings that come alive. Now quintet. Let's count them. 5. Flute that sends our soul a shiver. Flute that slender, silver sliver. A place among the set it picks to make a young sextet. That's 6. With steely keys that softly click, its breezy notes so darkly slick, a sleek black woody clarinet is number 7, now septet. Gleeful, bleeding, sobbing, pleading, through its throbbing double reading, oboe, please don't hesitate. Come, make it an octet. That's 8. That lazy clown, the big bassoon, he plays down low, we're laughing soon. Here, Grumpy, get your place in line and give us a nontet. That's 9. A harp descends with angels' wings, a heaven's blend through magic strings. And when it joins the others then, behold, a chamber group of 10. The orchestra comes in the hall. There on the stage we see them all. The cello, harp, and clarinet, the trumpet whom we've also met, the oboe, flute, and big bassoon, all eager to get started soon. Trombone, French horn, and violin, all poised and ready. Now, begin! The strings all soar, the reeds implore, the brasses roar with notes galore. It's music that we all adore. It's what we go to concerts for. The minutes fly, the music ends, and so goodbye to our new friends. But when they've bowed and left the floor, if we clap loud and shout encore, they may come out and play once more. And that would give us great delight before we say a late good night. The end. What an exciting book! Okay, so they had an orchestra, and how many were in the orchestra? 10. 10 musicians in the orchestra, and they called it a chamber ensemble, right? Okay, let's count and see what instruments that we saw. So it says the orchestra comes in the hall with the cello. Okay, the cello you sit down and play. The harp, the clarinet. Can you find the clarinet? There he is. The trumpet, whom we also met. The oboe, right here. It looks similar, but you can see it has a little reed on the end of it. It's called a double reed, and that's what oboes use. Flute, she's playing the flute. The big bassoon is also a double reed instrument. The trombone has a big slide on it. French horn, and last but not least, the violin. And then you have the conductor to bring them all together, okay, and make sure they stay together. Okay, so that was Zinzinzin the Violin. All right, our next story, I want to talk about this one first, okay? So this story is called Wild Symphony, and it is written by an author, and his name is Dan Brown. And parents out there, you probably recognize the name from the Da Vinci Code, because he wrote that, but he's actually a musician first and foremost. Okay, so Dan Brown not only wrote this book, but he also wrote music to go with the book. And there's an app that you can download. So if you do get this book from the library and you open the page, it has a QR code right there that you can scan, and it directs you to the App Store or to the website, and you can listen to the music there. And it's really cool, and it goes along with the different pages in the books. There's a little maestro mouse. So maestro or maestra are different names for the conductors of the orchestra. So they kind of follow you along on each page and give you a little bit of advice as the book goes along as well. So that's Wild Symphony. It's a little long for us to read during story time, but please check it out and take a look at it, because it's really cool. And for Dan Brown to not only write the book and but the music too is really kind of cool. Okay, so there is that. And why do you think music is important? And why is it important to you? It makes you feel things. It makes you feel happy and sad, and it can make you even feel maybe a little angry. Okay, so sometimes it's nice to let our emotions out through music. Okay, so if you're happy, you can play, I'm gonna play some Vivaldi for you. This is Vivaldi's Spring. Okay, and in this spring concerto, you also hear little bits of little trills. And those are supposed to mimic the birds. Okay, so if you listen really closely around you and to music that you hear, you might hear some things that you didn't notice before. Okay, so that's Vivaldi. It sounds very happy, very springy, like you're just walking along and it's a beautiful day in the park. And if you're looking for something that sounds a little bit more serious and maybe a little bit of anger in it, you can really sink your bow into the string and that was called the Bach Double. So Bach was also a composer, and he wrote that, and it's supposed to be played with another violinist, or it can be played in a chamber ensemble. There's also different mediums that you can play with that one as well. Okay, so it evokes different emotions. Okay, you feel different things when you hear different music, or one day play music with others too, because there's no greater joy than making music with somebody. So we're going to go on to our next story, but I'll play a little bit more later, okay? And our next story is actually written by an author who you have to know, okay? He writes all those pigeon books and Piggy and Gerald books, and he's known for Knuffle Bunny, okay? And his name is Mo Willems, and he's an incredible author, a really great guy, and he wrote a book about music. And this book is called Because. Okay? Because. Nothing else, just because. Okay? Written by Mo Willems and illustrated by Amber Wren. And this book is a big cause and effect book. Because I practiced a lot, I made it into the orchestra. Because I drove here, I'm able to tell you stories, you know? So there's a lot of reasons why you're here and why you do the things that you do and why you're inspired by what you're inspired by. Okay? So let's get into Because. Because, written by The score is written by Mo Willems, performance by Amber Wren. Okay, and on the inside here you can see a piece written by Franz Schubert, and it's called Symphony Number 8 in B minor. Because is published by Hyperion Books for Children. This is how it happened. Because a man named Ludwig wrote beautiful music, a man named Franz was inspired to create his own. Because many years later, people wanted to hear Franz's beautiful music, they formed an orchestra. Because a man had practiced since he was a kid, he was asked to join. Because a woman studied night and day, she too was asked to play. Because many others loved and practiced their instruments, there were enough musicians. Because someone created a poster about Franz's music, tickets were sold. Because the train conductor stopped the train at the Grand Concert Hall, the orchestra conductor arrived. Because the orchestra librarian had copies of the score, the orchestra rehearsed. Because workers checked the lights and the seats and swept the floors, the grand hall was ready. Because the time had come, the ushers opened the doors. Because someone's uncle caught a cold, someone's aunt had an extra ticket for someone special. Because the usher helped the aunt and her special guest, they found their seats. Because everyone was there to hear beautiful music, it was quiet. There's the orchestra. In row C, seat 14, sat the girl with the uncle's ticket. She heard the beautiful music written by a man named Franz, and it changed her. The girl was changed. From that moment on, the girl learned everything she could about music because it fed her. Soon she started to write music too. There she is conducting and playing piano and violin, and there she is on flute. Because, like Franz, the young woman had something to share. Over time, the woman became very good because she worked very hard. What is she doing now? Looks like she's conducting. One night, her music was discovered because she was also very lucky. Then she was invited to perform her music at the Grand Concert Hall because so many people wanted to hear it. Her composition was dedicated to the uncle in row C, seat 14, because it was his ticket that brought her there. There's her uncle and there's her aunt who brought her to the concert. And that night, someone else was changed. It says world premiere, Symphony Number 1, The Cold. That is how it happens. Okay, on the back of this page, you can see the composition called The Cold. The end. Don't you love that book? Oh, it's a beautiful story about remembering where you came from and always remembering to practice and realize the importance of practice, and just knowing that things don't just come easy. It takes work, it takes hard work. Okay? And you can do whatever you put your mind to. Okay? Whether it's sports, I know the Olympics are going on, and they take a lot of practice. Okay, a lot of practice to get where they are. Okay, learning an instrument's a lot of practice. Reading is a lot of practice. Okay, anything that you do, it requires work, but it's not impossible. You can do it. Okay, so those were our books today, and that was Storytime. So we've come to our end of Storytime, but we hope to see you next time. Remember to always visit monkeylibrary.org for more programs and in-person programs pretty soon. And we're going to finish off our story time with our goodbye song, which is The More We Get Together. No. Thank you so much again for coming. I enjoyed reading books with you and making music with you. And always remember to be kind to yourself and to others. Always wash your hands really well to get all the germs off. And remember that you are smart, you're special, and you are very much loved. See you next time.